one. Srini Ramaswamy, welcome to the Data Strategy Show. 66 questions, Data Leaders Unplugged. Srini, how are you today?
I'm doing wonderful, Samir. Nice to be with you.
That's perfect. I know you're always doing wonderful. I love that response from you. So, Srini, 66 questions, rapid fire. There'll be some crazy stuff. Just think what comes into your head and let's get cracking then. Srini, what's your wake up ritual?
I wake up about between 4 or 5 in the morning. I walk. I do a quite walk. So let my dogs out, bring them back in.
Oh, that's why.
And they start asking you for food. So that's my wake up ritual.
How many dogs have you got?
We got 3.
3?
Yes,
wow.
3 small ones. 3
small ones. So they definitely keep you busy then.
They keep themselves busy. They just ask you give them food, and then they own the sunroom. They
don't need you. What would you say is your biggest strength?
My biggest strength is being able to build big teams and not take anything very seriously.
Yes, I can see that. What's the biggest learning experience you've had?
The biggest learning experience I've had is basically when you're thrust into situations. I have been thrust into multiple situations. I've been sent as a department chair right after I got tenured, and had to grow computing departments, and then absorbed into industry as I was kind of plateauing on the university side. I was a full professor by 40, and I didn't know what to do.
Wow.
So came out to industry.
Oh, amazing! So that is quite a big learning experience from going from university to industry. And you'd been a professor until your 40s, and
yes,
yeah, wow. Okay, so how was the transition?
The transition was quite easy, for the simple reason that universities often are what you can say state handicapped in some ways, or they're not state supported. So I had to always look out to industry to find money
to get
as
money.
I was in university. So I was kind of on the bridge on the other side, on the university side, finding money. So when the opportunity came to switch sides and be on the industry side, working with university to bring people into the industry and also build partnerships with universities, that was kind of the ideal shift. And that kind of helped me transition from one end to the other.
And you had a lot of contacts as well, so you knew where to go. Yeah, fantastic. Are there any hobbies you will never give up?
I travel quite a bit. I write poetry, but I've stopped doing that. I don't do much poetry now.
No?
I
what happened?
Yes. Just too much. It sucks in your time. You're
not one of those people that can sit there and literally write a poem in seconds.
But you have to be in that zone.
The zone, you're right.
So it's hard to get into the zone. It takes time, and then it's hard to climb out of that pit as well.
Yes, I agree with you. I used to write a lot of poetry when I was young, and now I literally am able to just switch it on and write, some kind of poem in say my daughter's birthday card, and she's like, "Daddy, how did you do that?" Anyway, I think I'm not going to ask you this question, Srini. So I'm going to go to the next question. Do you have a first memory of life?
My first memory of life is in a small town where they make firecrackers in India.
Wow.
You would see in any firecracker to be made in Savakasi in India. It's a southern town.
Yeah.
And my first memory is having you have these trees on the road, right?
Yes,
so there was a branch that comes out.
Yep.
So you climb up those branches and kind of swing like monkeys, I guess. So and then the biggest memory was climbing up one of those trees on a out building they had, a shed kind of stuff.
Right.
And then going up to get some fruits up the tree, and then losing my steps, sliding.
Oh.
They have barbed wire fences, right? So catching my leg.
Oh, dear God. Oh my goodness.
Being hurt and not telling my parents about it, and they finding it about 2 days later.
Oh dear. Oh dear. But were you
I was
injured
fine. Yeah.
badly? You were fine. Yeah.
I
Good.
was injured, but I should have required a stitch, I guess. But
Uh-huh.
because it was 2 days old, the doctor said, forget it.
I like that sort of laissez-faire approach to your health. I hope it's not like that now. What are you most excited about these days?
I'm very excited spending time with my daughter. A lot
Wonderful.
of time
Yeah.
watching movies that she wants to watch or
Yeah.
things like that, and seeing her grow.
Yeah. How old is she, if you don't mind me asking?
She's 15. She'll be 15
15.
this week. This week.
Oh, great. Big party or
Yes, yes.
yeah, wonderful.
No, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. What's the best compliment you've ever received?
The best compliment I've received is from industry. It is actually two. So one is when industry, where when Intergraph, the company that used to hire my students, came out and told me that normally it takes us 2 years for these people to actually, we have to invest for 2 years before they make money, and yours have turned around and made money for us in 6 months.
Wow.
So that from a professional side,
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
best compliment.
Yeah.
From the
Yeah.
personal side, I think I had my dad visit me the first time he visited the
Uh-huh.
US. It was
Uh-huh.
about 8 years I've been in the US. He
Uh-huh.
visited me and he looked at my financials, and I I told him, she asked me, what's all this credit card stuff? I said, it's 0%. They give me money, I'll take it. And he said, I don't understand this. I'm a banker. I've been a banker and retired a banker for 35 years,
Yeah.
and I've never heard anybody saying they manage debt. It should be a US phenomenon.
Yes, it is. Oh my goodness. What's a cause that is important to you?
Cost, environment. I like ecotourism.
Mm-hmm.
I like to travel, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
but I like to
Mm-hmm.
travel without much funfare. Sometimes we just kind of travel, but the biggest cost I like is K through 5 education.
Okay, yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so I think teaching kids at that age,
Yeah.
even if they don't go through middle school or high school, if you can
And
teach them
sorry,
to,
what
even if
age
they
is,
don't,
yeah, what
K
age is
K
that?
K through 5. K through 5 is about 8 to 9,
Right. Okay.
age under 10.
Okay. Okay.
For them to be in school is
Mm-hmm.
very important, and
Mm-hmm.
if they learn
Mm-hmm.
how to read, write, and count, I think they
Yes.
can they can do wonders, and they'll be very useful for our future environment.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Fantastic. What makes you smile the most?
I'm smiling most of the time. Just looking at people and looking at the things people do, I smile.
Oh, that's great. Do you have a secret talent?
Like I said, I used to write poetry, and
Yes.
then normally I like using poetry as a way to teach STEM. Like I'm very focused on
Ah,
science,
okay.
STEM, the
Yeah, yeah,
science, technology,
yeah,
engineering, and math. I like that
yeah.
education.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody needs to, in some ways, get to that because that's
Mm,
needed for the
mm,
future of the world.
yeah,
And so that's the one that makes me always get up and do stuff.
yeah. Now, interestingly, you say STEM. At my daughter's school, they call it STEAM because they've added
Art,
art.
yeah.
Yeah, which is a great
Yeah.
component to add. It's fantastic. I love it.
I just don't get art, so that's my problem.
That's why you do the STEM part.
So I spell it wrong.
If you weren't doing what you're doing now, what would you be doing?
I'd probably doing some volunteer work with respect to education.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If that's something that's close to my heart.
Yeah, yeah. What are the three things you can't live without?
Ah, that's interesting. I can't live without traveling. I travel.
Yep.
I do that quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I can't live without my dogs now because
Mm-hmm.
they're a big important parcel of our
Mm-hmm.
life.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't live without reading. I read quite a bit.
Ah, yeah,
I
yeah.
read a lot, mostly not fiction. So don't go me and ask me what's
Oh
your favorite
dear
book.
God, that was my next question.
Yeah, so, uh,
Damn.
I read mostly technical stuff
Oh,
that most people won't be interested in. I read up.
okay. Well, I'm not going to ask you my next question, which is a bit of a shame, but maybe I can float it with you. You never know. You might. Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
what fictional character would you want to be?
None.
Okay. Do you watch TV, Srini?
Yes.
You do. Good, good. Tell me, do you watch just pure documentaries or do you watch
A lot
regular?
of documentaries
Okay.
on YouTube.
Okay. All right. I'm not even gonna bother asking you the next question. What's the most adventurous thing you've done in your life?
Most adventurous thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think once this is the most adventurous thing. We went to Belize. I don't know to swim.
Yeah.
My
Oh.
daughter and my wife knew, so they asked us to take them snorkeling.
Uh-huh.
So I have a great picture that looks like I'm the most wonderful snorkeler in the world, but I have no idea how to swim. I just got in, got a picture, and got out.
And I hope you've learned how to swim. I
No,
hope
no,
you
I
haven't.
don't know.
Okay,
No,
you haven't.
no.
Okay, fair enough. All
Yeah.
right. Well, I think you should start. Um, what's the biggest? Sorry, how would you define yourself in 3 words?
In 3 words, I'm
Yeah.
driven.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very goal focused,
Mm-hmm.
and I deliver.
Interesting. You didn't say you're an educator, but that's interesting. What's the biggest surprise you've had this year?
The biggest surprise I've had this year
Yes.
is my wife winning the ticketing technology of the year award in London in June.
Oh, wow. So were you here?
No, she was there. She
Ah,
decided to.
I lost you, Srini.
I can hear you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
The best piece of advice I would ever received is from my father
Mm-hmm.
when I came to this country.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, "You're going to have freedom, but freedom does not mean not operating, making sure you exercise the freedom, mindful of the people, the environment, and the things around you."
Yep. Yep. Very good. Very, very good advice. What makes you feel accomplished?
Uh, every time it changes, it's a moving goalpost.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
when I was
I
yeah,
lost you. I keep losing you. I don't know what the problem is.
I don't know what the problem is. So basically, I feel accomplished um every time I set up my goal of 4 or 5 years into the future. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so I talk about it like intelligence, right? People
Mm-hmm.
try to define intelligence,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard. The reason is because we are struggling to define intelligence is because I had a slide. I'll take it to schools. I'll tell them for an ant, a spider is more intelligent because it can weave the web and things like that.
Yeah.
For an insect, the bird seems intelligent because the bird can capture them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then for a bird, something else seems intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
For us, a bird seems intelligent because it can fly
Yeah.
wherever it
Yeah.
wants.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I say, as soon as you can get a way to narrow down a set of rules to define intelligence,
Mm-hmm.
the target moves. So it's
Mm-hmm.
very hard to define intelligence, and then that's the way I think it should be.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. What 3 words describe living in the US?
Freedom,
Mm-hmm.
opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
and the concept of not not being guilty
Oh, okay.
uh,
Really?
just because somebody suspects you of something.
Yes. Yes.
That's important, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's very different in the US compared to every other part of the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah. Okay. Good. What 3 things? Sorry. Actually, what's heavily played on your music playlist right now?
I don't like music.
You don't like music. Wow. Okay. What
Uh,
3 things are at the top of your bucket list?
travel. I have a travel to back to. I have want to travel to Africa again, South America again, and Southeast Asia.
Again or not
No,
again?
I've gone, but my
Yeah,
family wants to.
yeah, yeah. Do you have a guilty pleasure?
I like sweets.
Any kind of sweets? Any specific ones?
Most Indian sweets. Yeah.
Most Indian sweets. Yes, yes. On the last one I did, somebody was mentioning jalebi. So, what book did you most recently finish?
You really want to know?
Yeah,
It's again a technical book.
do it. Say it.
Yeah. So I just was pursuing through the Delta Lake from
Right.
O'Reilly, and
Okay.
on how you have to move away from data lake and towards
Yes.
a reliable data lake, Delta
Okay.
Lake.
Oh, a Delta Lake. Perfect. If you could go back in time, what would you tell your 16-year-old self?
Just live easy.
Nice. And if you could switch lives with one person for a day, who would it be?
I want to see how Trump looks like. So maybe I'll want to be like Trump to understand how his mind works.
I guess it's something that, we all kind of want to think that, don't we? And understand how his mind works. True. Yeah, that's an interesting one. What's the one thing you've always wanted to try?
Nothing.
Nothing?
I've been pretty happy with myself.
Perfect. If you had to change something in the world right now, what would it be?
I'll want people to be able to disagree professionally and do things that come from the heart rather than things that have political
contrived, yeah.
leanings. Yeah.
If you could resurrect one person from history and put them in the world today, who would it be?
Martin Luther King.
Okay. And why is that?
Well, I like the way he motivated people to do things that probably they never thought they could. So I think that'll be a wonderful person to resurrect.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. What's the one thing you wish you knew at the age of 19?
Life is not hard.
Yes, a 19-year-old, you think it really is, huh?
Yeah, but I was stuck up. I always thought life was hard, so you're always kind of your blinders on, doing the things you need to do.
Yeah.
And life
trying to get
passes
to
you
where you
by.
want to get to. Yeah.
Passes you by if you spend too much time doing those things.
Yep. Yep. If you weren't living in the US, where do you think you'd be living?
India.
You would. Okay. And back in your home, near your hometown, or somewhere else?
Back with my parents.
Yeah. Oh, really? Back with your parents? Wonderful.
Yeah.
Ah, that's
fun.
nice.
It's fun being with them. They are not judgmental.
Oh,
you don't
good.
you don't see your parent like your parents anywhere else.
Unconditional love. Unconditional love.
Yes.
If you could offer one piece of advice to upcoming data leaders, what would it be?
Small data is as good as big data.
Very good. Very good. Where was the best vacation you've ever taken?
I just had to report it in my morning stand-up today.
Did you? Oh, really?
It's hard. It's hard. Like Belize, Ecuador, Yellowknife.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing the aurora. So all those are great places to be.
Wow, wonderful. And I know you travel a lot, but is there one city that you've dreamed of traveling to that you've never been?
No.
No? So you've literally, wonderful. That's cool. What's the best lesson your parents ever taught you?
It's what my mom tells you. My mom always from a very young age used to say in Tamil, what it means is "Onnonna nura orimikka nura." It means, do you get to 100 one by one, or do you get it in total? So it's taking the small steps.
Yes, the small steps. Wonderful. Do you have a favorite food?
Favorite food? I'm vegetarian, so it's very hard to. I like Mexican, I like Italian, and Indian.
Good choices. Good choices. Do you listen to podcasts, and do you have a favorite one?
I listen to mostly YouTube style podcast,
Okay.
not really in podcast, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I listen to some of the stories in the Atlantic or
Mm-hmm.
those things
Yeah.
on podcast. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And how do you tend to relax?
reading.
Reading. Okay. We talked about movies earlier on, and lots of movies that you want to watch with your daughter. But what's a movie that made you cry?
Uh, not many.
Not many. That means there's one then.
I haven't had much that I can watch the same movie 3 times over and not remember it. So
Oh, it made such a big impact on you.
yeah, no. Sometimes my daughter reminds me, we have seen this movie.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like, I
yeah.
don't
Like, oh,
remember
really?
seeing it. I don't remember seeing it.
Who would you say is your biggest inspiration?
My biggest inspiration is my father.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. What can you see from your window?
I can show you too.
Ah,
It's our. I can see my front yard.
oh, very nice.
We have a very good yard.
Oh, and you spend a lot of time in there?
We spend a lot of time. The dogs go out, run. We go out,
Ah,
walk, and it's quite private. So
yes. Oh, that's good.
we enjoy walking around in the front itself. We can
Mm-hmm.
walk. So it's a nice place.
Ah, very good. Very good. Is there anything that you still have from your childhood that you keep with
Yes,
you? Yeah.
I have a lot of letters that people wrote to me. I still
Oh,
keep them
you mean family members,
from high
parents?
school.
From
My
high school.
parents
Wow.
from high school.
So
Yes.
friends as well?
Yeah, friends who
Yeah.
moved to other towns and then
Yeah,
they
yeah.
missed there.
Oh,
So that
wonderful.
yeah,
That's amazing. This will be a good book someday.
not too many letters. You
No.
write 3 4 letters and then you kind of ignore it. So I have 2 or 3. Like oftentimes I sometimes I still am in touch with a lot of
Yeah.
them. So
Yes.
when I met them after 30 40 years,
Yeah.
sometimes you send the picture of the letter.
Yeah,
I,
yeah, which
I,
is
I,
wonderful. Isn't
yeah,
technology great that way?
yeah.
What's a data trend that you would like to see disappear?
Um, there's a lot of trends I'd like to see disappear. The big thing in the data trend is trying to kind of uh, think that somehow you're going to accumulate all the data into some central place and make sense out of it and make
Yes.
meaning out of it, kind of
Yes.
decoupled from the context in which it was created.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that's the trend a lot of people subscribe to.
Yeah.
The problem is going to be like looking for a needle in a haystack without the
Mm-hmm.
right context and the right
Mm-hmm.
knowledge about the data.
Mm-hmm. Where it
Understanding
came
even
from.
why that
Yeah,
data
yeah, yeah.
was, understanding the first instance, why was it even collected in the first place?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, yeah. No, no, it's absolutely key. It really is. And actually, are we asking the right things to that of that data as
Yes.
well? What's a superpower you wish you had?
Superpower. I wish I could alleviate poverty and
Yeah.
hunger. More than poverty,
Mm,
hunger.
hunger. Yep. Yep. Absolutely true. What's something you don't want to be doing in 10 years?
I Nothing. I'd like to keep doing what I'm
You're
doing.
doing okay. Looking back on your life, is there anything that you would have done differently?
Nothing.
No? Okay.
No.
That's good. There's nothing wrong with that. Here's another thing about a movie, and I'm hoping you'll remember one that at least gives you. Which movie makes you laugh the hardest?
Charlie Chaplin movies.
Yeah, they are brilliant, aren't they? They are brilliant.
It's 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 so nice to see somebody who can make people laugh and cry and whatever
Yes.
without
Yeah.
speaking a word.
Yeah. Yeah. He was a master at that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Absolute master. There was another guy that I liked watching when I was a kid. His name was Harold Lloyd.
Hmm.
Have you ever seen him? He used to do silent
No.
movies as well, and he was, yeah. But if you do, try watch the
I-
Harold
I'll
Lloyd. Yeah, yeah.
I'll look up.
Is there a skill that you're currently mastering?
I'm trying to figure out how to architect large systems, and that's a constantly refining skill with the new
Mm-hmm.
technologies and stuff that come through.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How do you? But my entire interest is how do you build large scale systems? I mean,
Right.
you constantly hone that skill.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And is there Is it just a specific technology component, or is it the full wrapper? How do
It's
we?
it's how do you think of it as a system? So one of the things
Yes.
we are interested in is we call it responsibility-based partitioning of
Mm-hmm.
systems,
Mm-hmm.
and not just data, not just the
Yeah.
logic, but how do you define these responsibilities? If you read Peter Senge's Fifth Discipline,
Yes, I have.
he
It's why
tells
it's
you we are as
systemic view.
humans, yeah,
Yeah.
we are
Yeah.
very good at breaking things apart, but we are not very good at putting them back
Back.
together. It's
Yeah.
like
It's
it's like
true.
being
Yeah.
a radio repairman in your
Yeah.
teens, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah. So
No, absolutely
and
true.
that skill is very important. How thinking about how you're going to put things back together before you
Mm-hmm.
break it up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What three words would best describe your leadership style?
I normally have an open policy.
Mm-hmm.
I forgive and forget very
Yep. Very
quickly,
good. Very good. Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm always willing to be wrong.
Yeah. That's wonderful. I like that. I know you work with, a number of clients, but do you what would you say either your clients or your top three data challenges are?
Top three data challenges, or I think like it used to be in the early age of programming, like
Mm-hmm.
everybody is a programmer. Now everybody is a data scientist and
Yes.
everybody is a data engineer. I think,
Suddenly, overnight.
and that's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Uh, Keeping data in context is
Yeah.
is something that I think people are not thinking too much about. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's
Mm-hmm.
that's a challenge, and
Yeah.
trying to, I think the domain kind of a contextualized data is going to be critical. That's a
Mm-hmm.
challenge, and people understand that, but people don't understand that. And
I think
also
people.
making
Yeah.
sure people don't see data as a silver bullet. It's not.
Yes. Oh,
If people
yes.
talk about it and think it's just like a lot of CEOs and others think, oh, that'll, if I put some data, money in data, somehow I'm going to have a magic carpet or whatever. It's not going to take you to where you want to be
Nope.
just by putting money in there.
Yep, you're absolutely right. And I say it's an enabler. It's not the thing that's gonna, drive every part of your business or whatever. So yeah, I agree with that. That's brilliant. Is there something that has recently moved you in the world or within your sphere of influence or
Um, the wars move me. I don't like wars. So the
mm,
wars we see across the world
yeah, yeah.
is just, and the way some countries are being kind of becoming economic slaves in some ways, if
Mm,
you will. Like you look at
mm.
Sri Lanka, you look at Pakistan, you
Yes.
look at
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of the countries in Africa.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not good.
No,
And
no.
unfortunately, I see a lot of European countries in the same thing, with
Mm-hmm.
looking at the a lot of seaports in Italy, Greece,
Yeah.
even England, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not being able to sustain those
Yeah,
are
it's
those are
it's
those are hard things
yeah, yeah, I agree with you. It's not great. What's the one thing that you've had to learn the hard way?
to let go.
Aha. Yeah. Very, very difficult to do for a lot of people.
It was
Yeah.
hard. It was hard, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I've learned it the hard way. And now I do. Like I said, I don't.
No,
I can let it.
it's a great skill to have, and I learned that when I was quite young.
Yeah.
So I was probably just very fortunate. I had a lot of people who kind of helped me see what that meant. Um, how do you handle pressure in your career?
Like I said, I walk,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the. I tell my students I mentor as well. I said just drop it and go sleep,
Yeah.
and just keep a notebook and a pencil beside your bed. And
Mm-hmm.
when you wake up in the middle of the night, just write down, go back to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think I keep my phone with me and I
Yeah.
text to myself. Like if you look at my text to myself, it's more than the text to anybody else I sent. So you can you can add me to the crazies, but I text to myself.
But you see, that's interesting because you said you walk, but actually you have a method,
Yeah,
and that method is very good. So it's always good. One of my university professors used to say to me, when you're trying to think about something, you know, go to bed, obviously at the normal time, and in the morning you'll wake up and it will be right there, and it's absolutely true. The answer will come.
yeah.
And
That's what
maybe
I tell my daughter. I tell my students I mentor,
yeah,
people I
yeah,
mentor. I said just ignore it. when it comes, just make a note to yourself.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And then explore it.
What's something that you notice about someone when you first meet them?
Their eyes.
Mm.
They speak. Most eyes speak.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. My final question, Srini, what would you like to be remembered for?
Making a difference, and even if it's a small difference in somebody's life, and it doesn't have to be known extensively. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wonderful. Srini Ramaswamy, I've had such a pleasure speaking to you, and very different types of responses, which is wonderful. And it's great to really get to know you. But keep smiling as you always do. And I look forward to speaking to you soon. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Samir. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
No problem.
Hey, I finished in 30 minutes.